Dun, 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 boom! We're live. Here we are. It's time for the website one project presentation. We've got Nico Vidal going to do that for us. I'm going to pass over to him. He's the architect of the Rails 5 upgrade, which was a challenging part of a recent website one history, but he'll tell us all about it. Let's lock on to Nico. Nico, take it away.
I will start the slide. So sharing now here and presentation. Can you see the slides?
Yes, indeed. All good and clear.
Okay, cool. So here we are. Let me focus this. Yeah, here. So website one is the name for Agile Ventures. It is a main site and what powers everything. It crowdsources learning and project development, and the main idea is gathering groups of volunteers from around the world to work online on software projects for other charities and nonprofits. And we have to think of nonprofits are the customers working with Agile developers within our ecosystem. So what is crowdsourced learning? For us, crowdsourced learning, it is a situation in which two or more people attempt to learn something and gain a better understanding of a specific subject by solving a problem or a set of problems. Let's say, for example, if I want to learn a little bit more about Rails and we have this project or maybe another project within the Agile Ventures ecosystem, we will have different stories, but that will come in a moment. Okay, what is next? All the projects that are within the Agile Ventures ecosystem or within website one are open source. So anyone can contribute to them, and all the code is open to the world. That is something that I think that is pretty fascinating from my point of view. And what about the project development? So anyone can start a project, and I will show in a little bit where that view is. And every project within Agile Ventures or within website one, it has its own channel and also a story tracking board. For that, let me just stop this a little bit. And I will go here. Can you see the Slack? Are you here?
Yes, we can.
Here, for example, for website one, you have the main channel, and also you have different channels that are website one developed, installed, and notified. You can join any of them, and the main one is this one, the website one. So if, for example, you have any concerns regarding the installation or how to set up the project, you can join this channel, and we will help you to get ready for start coding on website one. I will start the presentation again. Let me see here, present. Can you see the presentation, right?
We sure can, no problem at all.
Cool. So here we have our view for the projects on the on the website. And for example, if you wanna add a new project to it in order let's say to get some help from the developers that are within our ecosystem, you can create it by coming here in projects, clicking new project, and you will need to fill these fields on the GitHub repository in order to create a new project. But before that, we recommend to join our projects channel that is here. You can find it like going to projects and projects, I think that is new projects. And within this channel, we can discuss any new project that maybe you want to add, and how is the process to have a new project ready within website one. Give me a second, because it's the first time that I'm presenting and I'm not finding the here. Present. Okay, so there you have the presentation again. After that, no, I'm going backwards. Here. The coding and design approaches that we have within Agile Ventures, right? So we work from user stories in regular sprints, offer daily stand-ups, and get regular feedback from the end users. And this allows us to make incremental changes to the software in order to deliver on-time solutions. Talking a little bit about BDD, we use Cucumber and Earthbed. There are tools we use for describing the behavior of the system, and we start working with acceptance test, integration test, and unit testing in order to set up the basis for writing code. We also have DDD, that is domain driven design, that it happens from time to time, and we switch to inside out, trying to adjust the underlying entity schema to better represent the domain models. And for self-documenting code, well, that is mainly our test. Through test, we have a in place executable documentation, and that we also use like short methods in order to describe what is happening, so they self-describe what is happening with the code. We use Scrum. This is a little picture that I took that I thought it would be nice to display, because what is coming next is what we the way we administrate our workflow, let's say. What I think that I didn't change the order. Well, it doesn't matter. Well, what Agile Ventures provides you, it gives you a place for Agile coders to meet. I think that Agile Ventures is a place for people to meet, and all the people from around the world on different time zones, they can meet, and we have an ecosystem that allows you to create different events, and those events are going to be hosted by Hangouts or Jitsi. I think that we have a Jitsi integration in place for you to meet with different people from all around the world. And we have an organized and a well-designed workflow, but that is most, I don't want to really read it, but I will show you in the next slides what that well-organized and designed workflow means. Regarding to the opportunity to make an impact, you will get this opportunity by contributing to the development of any project within the Agile Ventures ecosystem, and by working with real clients, you will see that code comes to life for improving user experiences. So, and you also will have feedback from well-grounded software engineers. We have different premium subscriptions in place, and apart from that, you don't need to pay, let's say, for having this kind of reviews, but you for sure will get a high priority if you are a premium member. So that is something that I wanted to mention. Cookies for meeting, because I think that cookies are fun and tasty. This is our continuous integration workflow, and this is what I was mentioning regarding our workflow, right? Everything starts with our user stories, and we have here the developer. We code our solutions, and our solutions are going to GitHub, And in GitHub, we will have in place continuous integration tools that will run our tests. And also, I have prepared here, I think, yep, let me switch here. That this is one of the pull requests that I will talk about in a little bit, but I think, where is it? Yeah, here. For example, our CI tools running here, it is called Climate, saying that it's all good, and that means that our code coverage, it didn't change, and also we don't have any kind of code smell that was detected, but our tests that were running on Semaphore CI, they failed. And there is something that is telling us, okay, you cannot merge this because we first need to solve one of the problems that was introduced with the changes that you have implemented with the pull request. So here, continue with our presentation. If everything goes well, we will go to Heroku, and finally, all the deployments are going to the final user. That is our main goal, right? So here you have a little example of an issue that was created on GitHub. The first one that we can see, that is an undefined method each pair. It will get mirrored to Waffle, and Waffle is the administration tool that we are using for the different stages that the story is in. And we have, for example, in backlog, the undefined method each pair that it got mirrored from the GitHub issue that we have here. After that, here we have the Semaphore CI. We have a screenshot of Semaphore CI where you will see that the different servers that are in place are website one develop, production, and staging. These are the Heroku servers that we are using. And also the different branches or pull requests that are being submitted are running here. And you will see the different stages. For example, this one has failed and the others passed. That means that once that this one can be merged, the one that passed and the one that failed. No. This is called Climate. So, and here you have the URL if you want to visit it. You will see a little dashboard with the code-based summary where we have the test coverage and the maintainability. That it means how much errors we have or code smells per lines of code. So that is some calculation that Code Climate does. And here we have Heroku and our pipeline, right? So every time you have a pull request, you will come to our development server. And if everything goes right, we will move to the station server. That is our second one here. And finally, it is going to be deployed to our production server in our Heroku dashboard here. The next one, this one is funny. You have to be patient because sometimes tests, they don't have to discourage you. They have to encourage you in order to get better at what you are doing. So if you are just starting, don't get frustrated and just get a little patient, and we will help you to get through them. So that is something nice. Here we have couple metrics that, for example, how many projects use which technologies. This means that the representation of this graphic is telling us that most of our projects are using Rails and JavaScript, right? The blue is Rails and the red is JavaScript. The less used is Elm, that is present only in one project. And if you want to see the distribution of each technology, here we have them, where you will see per each project how the technologies are distributed, and you can see that we have a strong relationship between Rails and JavaScript. And most of them, most of the projects that are using Rails are using also JavaScript. And there are other projects like Async Butter or Bots that are using not just Node. So now it comes the time for an upgrade. And here it was, I will mention all the process that I've been through in order to get the Rails upgrade that we have here. Everything started once upon a time. Everything started with local support. That was my first attempt for making an upgrade to a Rails system. And it didn't go really well because I just started calling, trying to get through the different problems that I was having by making the upgrades individually per each library that we were using in our sham file. So what I recommend here is it is to upgrade like by steps. Every library that you have, if you are, for example, in Rails 4, you need to upgrade it to the latest version and make that a pull request itself. So you will have more nuclear, more nuclear pull requests. Your upgrade, it will be more smoothly. My second attempt for upgrading local support, it was the one that worked, but we will go to what I've learned through the upgrade that I did to Rails 5. So we have used Dependabot in order to use the upgrade functionality that application provides, and I think that we have a couple here, or no pull requests. No, I think that then we have it here. Local support, yeah. For example, depending on what it does is it will analyze every library that you have in place in your sham file, and if it exists any new version of it, it will make a pull request of that library with the new version of it. So you can use that in order to make the regular upgrades that you will need to get your sham file up to date with the Rails version that you are using. If it is, for example, Rails 4, you can use it just for upgrading all your libraries up to the Rails version that you are using. But it will come a time where you have to make the Rails upgrade, and there it comes the real challenge, because when you upgrade Rails, you will also need to upgrade the other shams, and they will start to fail. My experience is that it will fail. So one of the tools that I have used for making this regular upgrade, it was bundle open. I don't know if I have it. Maybe I can add it later, a reference to it, but you will need to open the different shams that you have listed in your sham file. So for example, I think that we have device here, or for example, this one, Mercury. You will have to open the sham in order to see how it's working and what it has changed, because sometimes it is not in the documentation of the sham itself. So for this particular sham that we have used, I had to open it and make a couple changes in order to allow us to use the Rails version that we wanted. That in this case, it was Rails 5.1. After doing those changes, since the repository got out of maintenance, I had to create a fork for having the reference to our own Mercury repository with the changes that we wanted. Once that was in place, I was able to make the Rails 5 1.1 upgrade, and at the same time I did the upgrade of other gems, as you can see here. But the upgrade of the libraries that I had to make, it wasn't too much, because before this upgrade I have done the regular upgrades with the Pendabot application. One of the challenges also was to make an upgrade to device in the way we were testing it, and the challenge was also to use bundle open in order to dive within the different versions of the gem that introduces the change that it was making our application break. So I think that is all regarding our Rails 5 upgrade. If I don't remember, yeah, that was all. Also, one of the things that we have to notice is that we have really that our test coverage is covering almost where am I? Yeah, here. Our test coverage on website 1 is almost at the 80%, I think. Yeah, it is at the 81%, and that allowed us to work through the different problems that the different versions were introducing. So it was smoothly thanks to the code coverage we have in place. Let me come here again to our presentation. And the next one, I think that is the last one. So here, I invite anyone and everyone to get involved. You have the sign up link here, and we have team meetings every other Tuesday, so you can join us. And the team meeting is for our planning meeting. Our source code, obviously, it is in Agile Ventures/website 1, and our project board on Waffle. The link is right here. So I think that is pretty much everything I have for you guys.
Great stuff, Nico. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. So if you have any questions, I'm here.
I had a question. What the website 1 biweekly meeting is on Wednesdays now?
It's on Wednesday. Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
Side note.
Okay. I will have to update that. So, and are we posting all our slides, like maybe in some place?
Yeah, we've got the AVConf conference Slack. So yeah, all the slides can go in there.
Awesome. So sorry about the error there.
No worries. No, I should have added all of the speakers to that room at the beginning of the day. I think I added all the people who joined, like most of the people who joined some of the early hangouts. But yeah, I've added you to that room now as well. Yeah, well, I was going to say, like, it's funny you describing the Rails 5 upgrade in retrospect. You make it sound kind of quite easy.
Yeah.
It certainly seemed like quite a big block at the time, but yeah, really well done for making that change and getting us back into the modern world.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that after you make it, it's like you can like tell the story a little bit easier, but it was like a lot of work. Yeah.
From my understanding about that, like upgrading from, for example, Rails 5.1 to 5.2 is much less of a headache than upgrading from Rails 4 to 5, for example. So I don't know if that's an argument for upgrading more often? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that you need to. I think that you need to find like an equilibrium, right? Because for example, if the versions that you are using, if the version of the libraries that you are using are stopping you from adding value to your users, I think that is a time where you have to consider to upgrade in order to grab the new versions of those libraries, right? Because yeah, with time you will you will be like lose in time with the upgrades. That is what happened with the Mercury upgrade that we did. That gem got out of maintenance, but it was tightly coupled within our code, and that was what that was a blocker for us in order to upgrade to the new functionality on Rails 5. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think we've kind of changed a little bit what we do on, or at least I've changed my mind. I think I used to be very, very conservative in terms of not wanting to upgrade things for fearing that they would break. And it was actually Robert Schaefer from Runfunk who mentioned the Dependabot service that kind of goes through and just submits all these pull requests to upgrade your gems. And we've got that running both on Website 1 and local support now. And it's kind of become just routine now because it's putting it in there, and we have to kind of almost sometimes run to keep up with it, like keep merge the next one.
Yeah.
But I think it feels like that's the way to go if you want your system to kind of just keep on being available. You need to kind of experience those little pain points regularly, rather than putting off experiencing all of them until much later. What I would so love to add is a system that now like basically would automatically move things along the pipeline from develop to staging to production at some frequency, because I think we almost just need these things going out into production. I mean, assuming the tests are passing, I think occasionally you're going to have issues get into production that way, but the problem is just the kind of the resources to keep manually pushing it to production are quite an overhead, and the like 95%, 99% of the minor bumps of the grades, if the tests are all passing, then it's going to be fine on production. And if it isn't, then that's something you need to see that fail on production, and you need to get the test in place to cover it. So
Yep.
I think I had one question. It's kind of good to see that website 1 is still kicking in, and that we're getting more and more contributors to help maintain the code over time. I think you guys have been doing great work at that. What are sort of like the immediate plans in moving forward with this project? I saw briefly the other day when I was browsing through Slack that there is a project for building a separate front end for website 1. Is this something that you're actively working on, or just considering? What's the state on this?
Yeah, the idea for that is to build a front end on React. I don't have too much information about the part of the front end, but I've been diving on the part of the backend, and I think that we can implement for that Grape API in order to deliver all the functionality we need through endpoints for feeding the front end. So yeah, that is something that is coming.
So like, have you guys started working on the API implementations already, or that's gonna start soon?
That is gonna start soon. Yeah, because first we need to establish all the stories regarding how we are going to deliver functionality like step by step in order to start migrating everything to the React frontend.
Right. Cool.
Yep.
Awesome. Great.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna. We do, as I say, on the API side, which the great gem that Nico is mentioning is a really good one. I've done a little spike of that. It seems to work really nicely. We do have some API bits that we already made for website one for some integration with other services, so it's kind of ready to go. I think what the key thing is trying to get the React front end to the point where it would be okay to switch over. Like, we've got a lot of like kind of spikes of different possible React front ends. I mean, we're basically going with React as the one we have the most experience with. I think that we had looked at kind of sprinkling React into the existing website one, but it seemed to be difficult to get that working with our acceptance tests. So it feels like the way forward might be to do this kind of clean break where we do a complete switchover. But that means that we have to kind of get like quite a lot of front end stuff done before we can actually do the switch. So,
all right, cool, sounds good. I'm hoping maybe in the near future I can, free up some time and hopefully get back to doing some coding on this. That would be good.
That'd be totally awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, that's super cool.
I wanted to ask Nico, I thought that the Mercury editor was removed, but it still exists. It just edited some parts for it to work with the upgrade.
Yeah, the only part where the Mercury editor is working is on the project documents. And the only thing that is editing there, this is the title and the description. So I have to prioritize first one of the fixes that we need to implement to the project's model, because the relationship that now has with the source repositories model and the way we are retrieving the relationship of the primary repository is not working really well, as Federico had a couple problems with that. I first need to make that fix, and after that I will completely remove the Mercury editor. There is also a pull request in place, so if you want to take a look and you want to start over with that, I can completely help you, and we can call together if you want to make the removal of the Mercury editor. So
okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Nico, so much for presenting the website one and the Rails 5 upgrade and so on. Yeah, I guess I'll turn off the broadcast there so we can have some of our after hours. All those people, you don't know what happens after the broadcast goes off. It all gets completely different. Ooh, we'll see you one day if you join us in the hangout. There we go. Yeah. Oh, great stuff. Great to see